So Ismael, tell me, what was your experience of lockdown? How did you find it, and did you have projects that were cancelled?
Yes, of course. I had many projects that were canceled. I was studying, so that means that my university closed, and everything became online. And of course, it was a period of really a lot of uncertain. I mean, an uncertain period. No, anyone knows what was happening. Because it was a totally new situation. No, um, it was unreasonable for me because I never experienced something like that. Something like not being able to go out from my house, for example. So and of course, I was teaching also. I had some students, and it was also quite stressful for me, because, for example, I don't know how you can explain to one little kid how to tune the violin, and or even to their parents, maybe people who even is not musician. So, but yeah, I think that the feeling was something like, yeah, I don't know what's happening, mm, where we are going, in this situation. And of course, it was I mean, it's still a really period full of anxiety, a really anxious period, a really, how to say, yeah, of not
Not
knowledge about
knowing. Yeah.
exactly, not knowing what's
Mm.
happening. And for example, yeah, I got also many concerts canceled later in Italy, and even from one day to other day, and this is quite frustrating. But also, for example, all of this change of rules, okay, like, uh, now we are closing this city, now you cannot go out from this town, now you have to come back at your house at that time. Maybe tomorrow would be like that, but later it's not like that. So I think life becomes just even much more difficult. And of course, for us as an artist, as in a, let's say, I'm a freelancer musician, since the moment I'm not fixed, I mean, I didn't join officially any big orchestra. It's quite frustrating, that even that the older projects got canceled, and you don't have any kind of control about
Mm.
them. This is
And
the,
and
the
mm.
feeling.
and I also understand that musicians, well, freelance artists sometimes know their schedule far ahead. So it's not just this month, it's like sometimes something for next year, or sometimes something for the next 6 months or so. And then so you always plan ahead or saw ahead, and now you can't, because now you don't know, you don't know in how many months still this would be like it is at the moment.
Exactly. You cannot plan anything, and this is the most frustrating thing, that you cannot organize anything because you are all the time scared or afraid about um, decisions from the government or from the, I don't know, health authorities. And of course, and I think, well, my feeling is that what's happening about, for example, why restaurants, for example, or why TV programs, it's like there is no coronavirus there, no? What's happening with the theaters? Almost no one got the virus when it when in the theater,
Mm.
because of course it they had taken many rules and many precautions, let's say, in order to separate the chairs, in order to not to have people together and people enter with the mask and go out with the mask. So there is no opportunity to this kind of exchange of let's say.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, I know.
I think it's for me it's like a really big joke. It's like if I don't know, they want to destroy the culture. I don't know. For example, now in Italy, there is also all of this kind of contradictions about Sanremo. I'm still also watching some pictures on Facebook now where the people who is conducting the program, no, they got hugs, they even kiss each other, no, there is no this kind of social distance that for us common mortals are asking for. So it's like, okay, what's the purpose of all of this? I mean, why for some reasons in some places there is coronavirus and another ones don't?
Yeah.
And of course, we cannot count on the streaming, I think, because the streaming works when you are in a really big company, when you are working in a really big orchestra who has their own public, their own people who pays for the entire season, and of course they can manage and they can support economically the streaming concerts. But on the other side, you know, for example, I was offered to play Vivaldi Four Seasons, and later the manager of the project told me I didn't sell almost any ticket. I told her, okay, but why? Because if you go to YouTube, you can find many recordings of the Four Seasons of Vivaldi. People is not going to pay for that. So yeah, I think that the live performance is totally necessary. Okay. This is my opinion.
Yeah. How did you motivate yourself during the time? Did you still keep on practicing, playing the violin, or and you know, how did you motivate yourself in that sense?
Well, I'm still practicing, of course. Now I'm working as Italian teacher in Spain because my situation in Italy was totally desperate. I mean, the last time I played in front of some kind of public was in the first week of October. That means, and even before, I didn't have so many opportunities to perform. I play in some festival during summer, and that's it, you know. Of course, I was used to playing, doing some kind of tournees and international concerts and going abroad. But since the airports are closed, this is not possible anymore. So yeah, for example, for me, one of the way to manage to continue to study is, by the one hand, I still have the purpose to finish my studies. And on the second hand, I try to even meet people, even other musicians, in order to play some chamber music, in order to have some kind of projects for the future. Okay, let's say hopefully in the summer situation will be better, or hopefully in during Easter situation will be better. So I think this is something you need to keep motivated. You need to think about this situation is not going to last forever, and you need to keep your purposes, your I mean,
do you think that musicians now in this time come together more than they used to do? You know, that there are more collaborations, or that they reach out to each other more than in the past?
Well, I think there are two faces of the same coin. Okay, as I know, I think of course there is like a bigger collectivity now, a bigger group collectivity or a bigger group knowledge about this is a situation who is affecting to everyone in the world. And for example, I saw that there are some associations who defend some rights for the musician, for the art worker, who are, I think, working harder, and many people are joining. This is a good side. Let's say, okay, finally, in some ways, we are not in competition to each other. But from the other side, since there are less and really less opportunities to work, I think, of course, there are even much more competition. Even for one little streaming concert, or for any kind of opportunity to perform and earn some money. And for example, I think something that is not nice, we know that social networks are, oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I think social networks are, for example, I think that don't help. If I saw that someone is working, even just for 10 days or 15 days, I don't know where, or maybe just in some orchestras who are doing something streaming, no? And is posting, and he or she is posting with not stop pictures and videos about, oh, I'm really lucky because I'm performing here. And you know, I think it's not nice regarding the other people who actually doesn't have any kind of job with the art. You know, it's like if you, I don't know, you got the opportunity to eat that day, okay, I don't know, let's say you are, for example, in the street and you go to like a hamburger, and you walk through the street, and it's full of, I don't know, let's say beggar people, no, or homeless people, and you are just enjoying your lunch in front of them, okay. I think it's not nice. It's not nice, and also it's creating some illusion also about the people who doesn't live in this world, about, oh, so the musicians are still working, they are doing streaming, they are surviving. But that's not the point. I mean, you cannot show to the people that if you work 3 or 2 days or 1 day a month, you are working really. For example, it happened something really curious I think in the last 2 weeks in Italy. There were many theaters and many let's say many groups, many bands organizing something called the Last Concert, and they launch this kind of Last Concert online, and they create a lot of events in Facebook, they make a lot of publicity, and well, people was expecting to really watch a streaming concert for free. Actually, this Last Concert was many little videos. I was participating in one of them also, where we were showing to the people that we cannot play. So maybe we were in the orchestra with our violin prepared, or another band, for example, was putting the microphones like a real streaming concert. And later, anything happened, just the silence. Well, still, some people criticize this idea. Even some journalists, they said it was a joke. Many people was expecting some kind of Last Concert or some kind of streaming concert for free. And you realize that people don't give the real value of the live music. But not also live music, I mean, the culture, okay? Well, let's say during the lockdown, people survive mentally and let's say anemically also. I don't know if it exists in English. I just took it from the Italian. Because we had culture, we had Netflix, we had YouTube, we had books, we had Spotify, we had music. Okay, what happened if we don't have anything of this? Of course, we cannot survive without doctors, without factories, without food. But what happened if only we have the silence during the lockdown? Can you imagine how many people would have committed suicides, for example, in a really depressed, in a really in a big depression. No? So yeah, I think.
But I think what people also don't understand, or they don't realize, is that even the television that they watch, the Netflix on, is actually a form of art. It was a design, you know, and art is so part of our lives that we take it for granted. And I understand completely what you say, that even people, you know, it's very interesting if you hear what people did over the time when they were at home, was painting or baking or cooking or you know, I don't know, doing sewing and things like that. And these are all forms of art. These are all expression. This is creativeness. And the moment that everything was taken away from us, everybody started being creative. So it's inherent in us to do that. It's really in us to be artistic and to do art. Yet it's not valued to such an extent that if somebody does it on a professional level, that we appreciate it on that level. But this is my question to everybody, and but you've already said that you feel that art is not being valued and artists are not being valued. And now I'm asking the question, should we start maybe in the schools and educate children in art, and not just in maths and science and languages, but that we make art a compulsory subject, and everybody has to learn it the same as they learn maths.
Of course, but let's say, for example, which are the values, for example, even really, really little children are listening. And I'm going to do a really, I'm going to criticize a lot two styles of music, for example, reggaeton and trap. Which kind of values a little child is listening since his childhood or her childhood? He's listening or she's listening about how the woman is under the man, and this kind of submission. And for example, no, I was the other day in the school and I was listening all the time reggaeton. I said, where this music is come from? And I opened the window and it was from some party from some elementary school, and says, there are no better music to put to them in order to, I don't know, to make them more creative, but not in order to make them creative, in order to give them some quality. Of course, if you give all the time to one person a McDonald's burger, at the end he or she doesn't, he only knows how to eat McDonald's. You know, you don't give him or her how to say, a rainbow of possibilities or which kind of food you can eat. It's the same for music, it's the same for theater, it's the same for the movies, for the series, for yeah, for many things, of course. So yeah, and for example, I'm going to speak also what happened here in Spain during the big years of big constructions. Okay, there was a period where many people was constructing a lot here in Spain. Cultural centers, auditorium, theaters, concert halls, of course, and a lot of buildings and a lot of, you know, and how to say, and the bubble was getting bigger until it exploded. Okay, why do you need such a, I'm living in a 50,000 people city. Okay, there are 50,000 people living here in this place. They have a really big concert hall. Useless. Why? Because there are no also orchestras. There are no also companies. Okay, now actually there is this history of coronavirus. But I say, if you don't build something from the childhood, if you don't educate the people, the children, to appreciate the culture, why you need this kind of hug, not hug, sorry, this this large concert hall, this huge. That's the point, you know. Why? In order just to make some, to give some, to show the power. No, okay, look how powerful I am. I can build this building. No, in order to, I don't know. Yeah, that's. I think it's really necessary.
Yeah.
To educate the children to what is art. Yeah.
It's not to make them all become artists, although I think we are inherently all artists, but not to make them all musicians or to expect from them to become musicians, but just for them to learn about the arts forms and to be able to appreciate it, because I think appreciation comes with knowledge. You know, if you understand something or learn about something, then you can appreciate it. Yeah. But tell me, what was there something you did in lockdown, something, just a hobby or something, just to that you used the time to bake or to cook or gardening or anything like that?
Yeah.
Anything fun?
Of course. I enjoyed a lot on cooking. I start to cook much more. I start to have much more time for me, of course. So I start to read more. This was the bright side, no? Yeah, but overall, cooking and reading more, studying more, having more time, you know. I started to go early to the bed and and wake up also early with the sunlight, and I realized that this it was really healthy for me. Okay, something like respect the rhythm of life, you know. And yeah, and I started to appreciate little things, you know. For example, one of the best thing was there was no noise, there was no pollution because no cars were around all the time. There is no traffic jams. There wasn't also noise coming from the klaxons, for example. So I think, of course, I think the air was much more pure, more breathable. Of course, there were also let's say good points. I think we become also more introspective, let's say. And for example, I realized that I don't need to spend so much time with so many people. For example, I understood that I need to spend the quantity of time that I need with the people who are really positive for me, or who are really, or whom I really appreciate. You know, I think this was the point of before this big stop. We were. I mean, I used to I don't know, to meet many people and also how to say, yeah, even forcing to myself, no, in order to spend time in situations that I didn't really like it. It wasn't good for me. So, for example, the lockdown made me appreciate these little encounters. No, each time you were winning some kind of little freedom and meeting some people. Yeah, it was a really precious time, no? And even right now, no? For example, in Italy and Spain, you know that you can go out to meet someone. For example, Italy is working by colors, no? Depending on which city you are. So if you are in red color, that means you cannot even go out from your house. If you are in yellow color, you can also go to another city and meet. So I think this is some good point in order to say, okay, I have to use the time that I have now to do the things that I want to do now, because maybe tomorrow would be different. Maybe I won't be able to see this person because he's living in another city, Or yeah, I think this is the.
I do think that I don't know. I think although we say it's lockdown, there was we in ourselves had more freedom, because we had more freedom in time, and we had more freedom in you know, how we spent our time, for example, because there was no pressure, and there was, I mean, I hear also from musicians that they started doing things like playing repertoire that they never had time for, or like you're saying, you know, cooking more, or going to bed early, getting up early, things like that, where you had the choice and you had the freedom. So I think maybe in that sense that that would be something that we bring out of this situation that is very positive. And I'm wondering also, because artists are very sensitive, and they you know, experience things also more, I think, intense in a way. Do you think you as a musician will do things differently when you come out of this?
I mean, well, actually, we are living already some kind of little freedoms that we didn't have during the real lockdown. I mean, now I'm not in lockdown in Spain, and even in Italy was something like little lockdown. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with your opinion, with your point of view. I think we got much more freedom, and we realized, for example, I also read about many articles, people who realize that they don't want to live anymore in the city and pay really big rents, because if the city is not offering you this kind of diversity of cultural and let's say fun and let's say nightlife or something like that, who really wants to live in a big city? I think it's much more beautiful to live in the countryside and to listen to the birds and I don't know, and go to the hills, and not to the hills, sorry, go to the hills.
Yeah.
But maybe someone enjoy also going to hell, but
Yeah.
going to the hills, mountain. Yeah, appreciate also the nature. Yeah, I think it was nice also to stop. I realized that we were, as I said before, spending so many times in traffic jams, getting angry, arguing with people who really maybe we don't care so much. And yeah, I mean, it was a period of introspection, of saying, okay, what I want and which way I want what I want. So yeah, I think in some side, because of course hard times make let's say stronger people. No, this phrase is not mine, of course, I know.
No.
I just
Yeah, I'm 56. I know that.
so, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we got. I mean, maybe the people, no, because I see the same kind of dynamics in some people, no, like any, like yeah, like I'm like wondering what time the bar is going to be open in order to get drunk until 3 a.m. No, and I'd say, I mean, each one is free to do whatever they want, no, but I say, I think this period it was good to reflect, and yeah, I don't know, it was hard, but it was also good. The stop to appreciate little things also.
Yeah, I think also, I think everybody has, it has affected everybody, but not everybody will come out of it and benefit from the changes. You know, some people might just go back to the same type of living, but some people will use this time and think and maybe change, or you know, make things different. But what is your wish for when this is all over? How would you like it to be?
Good question. I think I would like to be with the right time. With the right time. I mean, not to be fast, not to be running everywhere, not also to be really slow, no, but just getting to my rhythms. Okay. Let's say, I don't know. I think in some way I'm already in this, yeah, in this vision. I mean, I actually, for example, no, I realized that I don't need many things. I don't need really to go out. I mean, I like to have the opportunity to go out, for example, during the night and get a drink or get a beer, or let's have fun. But this is something that I don't need every day, for example, no. And before the lockdown, it looked like every day, I don't know, you had to some kind of party sometimes, so you know. I think it's good to rediscover some individual pleasure, no, like the reading, spending time of, I don't know, yeah, watching also films that we like, or studying, or meeting less people also, no? The way, yeah, exactly. I think this is a really important point. I'm not defending that, but from the moment you are forced to meet only few people, for example, maybe just one or two people in your house, you have to be really selective. And that means that you are going to be with less people, but these few people are going to be much more closer to you. I think this is my, maybe you arrive to know more about that people. Maybe you arrive to know more about your friends, but you just say, okay, yeah, I want to get closer to this friend because I think it's giving me good vibes. I don't know, or something constructive. Okay, and you say, if I have if I have to choose how many people can enter in my house, I want you and you, for example, no? I don't want 20 people in my house, 20 people in my house, for example, no? Or I'm not able to go to 10 people outside. That, of course, I would like also, no? Because for birthdays and parties, but, well, I don't know.
And for music, what is your wish for music? For the arts and for when the theaters open again?
I don't know. I really would like that something like a big awakening collective, like a big awakening of the world. I think this would be my really wish, that people realize that they were really happy going to the cinema, having feelings from the live performance, this kind of sharing also, no? Because of course, when one musician is playing, the listener, of course, is getting the feeling, no? And there is the communication, and it's not the same in the streaming way, because you don't have the, I mean, a virtual applause, no? Like it happened in the New Year concert in Vienna. It's not the same. Yeah, you can see this kind of big screens of many people going like that, no, with the sound.
Yeah.
But it cannot replace the feeling of the real people giving this kind of not recognition. It's not recognition. It's just a way of communication.
But it's also a way of appreciation. You know, I think from an audience point of view, maybe the artists see it different, but I think from an audience point of view, it's appreciation, you know, and also maybe a way of recognition that to say thank you, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
I think this would be a really big awakening about how culture is important and how culture save our souls during. but not only culture. What we say about food, cooking, sport. So, of course, the bad habits didn't save our souls during the lockdown. No, if you start to drink much more alcohol, if you start to smoke much more, or another kind, I don't know, of gambling or something like that, it wasn't constructive. Instead, if you went to run, or if you practice some sport, you get, I don't know, yeah, you grow as a person with culture and studies or whatever. This should be the rival point.
You are right. Yes, definitely. It impressed me so much that you say you went to bed early and saw the sunrise in the morning. I'm going to try that. I'm a bit of a night owl. I work till late at night and then I cannot wake up very early in the morning, but I'm going to try that.
Well, it's not a rule. I mean, it's something I realized that it was working for me. Because if there is no nightlife, there is no life after sunset. I mean, I felt with much more energy getting up with the sunlight. But it was
interesting.
Yeah, I'm still going late now. It's depending on the day. For example, that night I went late to sleep. I was watching one movie.
Okay. But Ismael, that was now so lovely to talk to you and your insights and yes, I totally agree with you that you know, the arts should be appreciated and the theaters have many ways of protecting the artist and protecting the public. You know, that they should really be opening the doors, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think we need it.
Yeah. But have a lovely evening, lovely Friday evening.
Thank you.
And it was so lovely to talk to you.
Me too. Thank you for your interview and this conversation.
Okay, no, it's a pleasure. But if you come this way, then write to me and we can have a coffee and meet face to face.
Of course, of course. What would be my pleasure?
Okay.
I have many friends in Vienna, so I would like to join.
Okay. Okay, so that would be lovely to meet you in person.
Okay. Thank you, Petra.
Okay, Ismael. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Tschüss, tschüss.